Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is Sat TV Week. Now I'm pleased to be joined by Mardi from NorthTelecom. Mardi, thanks for joining us again. Industry is going through quite a bit of change. What trends are you seeing?
Thank you for having me here. Yes, the market is shrinking and everybody is talking about, price reductions, excess capacity, oversupply capacity, and the consequence is, yes, market is shrinking. But what we can do in future, from my standpoint, the future is more collaborations, consolidations, and working along the supply chain from perhaps even satellite manufacturers all the way to satellite operators, service providers, system integrators. We have to understand, and we need to understand, what is the value proposition of every players in the supply chain. If we understand, we perhaps can consolidate our expertise, resources, and the result would be, we can save a lot of cost. We can come up with more innovative idea, and we can overcome the challenge. That is, from my standpoint of view, in the future, we need to explore and we need to understand how we can move from a conventional business model, which we were doing in the past, just selling and buying type of basically transactions, which is very, very old concept in every niche market, to be like more collaborative, to go for more basically a strategic partnership to address all the concern of all the players inside the supply chain. This will ensure every party to have a sustainable basically business in the mid to long terms, rather than just thinking short terms, and then we don't know what is going on, sometimes after 2-3 years. We have to understand this concept, and we really need to perhaps change a little bit our culture, whomever, and think about more collaboration and consolidation and working together,
Are you finding that the customers are demanding more and more?
Quite honestly, some customers, yes, in some particular verticals, they are demanding more because they are under impression that, okay, if they go for the volume of the business, the price gonna be cheaper at the end of the day, with the new concept look like HDS satellite, in the market, or for instance, for some very, very particular verticals look like IP backhauling, for instance, or ISPs, definitely they demanding more because their consumer, they are demanding more. Everybody want to move to more broadband type of connectivity, but IP trunking customers, they are just a very particular type of the customers in our industry. Perhaps I would say maybe in the very next future, by more advanced inside aeronautical basically verticals, we are going to witnessing some more demand, high throughput, maybe satellite help us to serve the broadband connectivity inside aviation industry. But then the other challenge would be, for instance, with the new regulation of US banning the laptop and all, then the question would be, okay, now we all in the satellite industry, we are trying to bring broadband connectivity inside airplanes, then how people they can utilize the broadband connectivity, if really the authority want to put the ban on, like anything bigger than the mobile, that would be our challenge. We never, I believe nobody thought about it, maybe one day the laptops would be banned on all international flight, This would be the challenge. Yeah, as I said, in some particular verticals, we are witnessing more demand, much more demand actually. In some particular verticals, actually people are asking for more reliability, perhaps more value add rather than just pipe, because pipe is something, value add is something. Previously, people just asking for basically a connectivity itself, But right now, people, they are asking for a lot of value add. Perhaps cloud computing, a little bit security. A lot of people, they would like to expand and extend their business application. Some sort of CRM software or whatever they have, all the way to all the branches. Talking about oil and gas industry, for instance. They are willing even to have the CRM systems on board, inside the vessels, rig and all, They are demanding a little bit more, but it is not just about the capacity, I would say, it's about the value, the value add, we as a service provider, we have to make sure we have all and every expertise in-house, or we have a reliable partners we can serve to our customer at the end of the day.
Now, cybersecurity, well, security in general, is a major problem. Every day you read something about somebody's been hacked. As a service provider, you are partly responsible for making sure that that doesn't happen. How difficult is that?
Very good question. Well, we as a service provider, actually, our core is to provide the infrastructures and make sure the infrastructures itself is secure, and is reliable enough to be able to serve to our customers. There is two different dimensions for cybersecurity from my standpoint of view. Cybersecurity in terms of making the infrastructure secure, and cybersecurity to make the application secure. We as a service providers often, or normally, we don't have any access to the customer application, and we don't want to have any access to the customer application because we are not doing any manipulation or whatever. We just simply providing the pipe. That's it. But we have to make sure even this connectivity, this pipe, is secure. Nobody is going to intercept the data, with whatever infrastructure we are providing for our basically customers. Yeah, it is a challenging. We are working with the different firms, different expertise to make sure this particular part of the network will remain secure. At the meantime, definitely we have some expertise in-house. We are often talking with our customers. We are trying to basically give them some advice. We have some monitoring tools. If we see there is any basically threat basically for our customers, or any unusual activity toward our customer network, we make sure we send the proper notification to our customers and making sure, okay, guys, there is some threat, you better take some measurement and all. Yes, but as I said, there is two parts. Infrastructures and application, which normally application is shouldered by the end customer, but definitely we are always ready to help them, to make the customer make their application secure.
Now, I wasn't going to mention it, but HDS, you mentioned it. Is it really having an impact?
Yes. It's more about mindset, to be very honest, rather than, and there is a period, I believe we have to pass it, we all. HTS has been introduced from my standpoint of view, just my personal standpoint of view, a little bit in the wrong way. Back in 2012, we all, especially satellite operators, they were promoting the HTS satellite just with one pillar: better price, lower price, better to say, and better quality. It was the marketing tools. We have a lot of element inside the marketing strategy of each company. If you dare first, you introduce your new product just with the single pillar, which is the price. That's it. You don't emphasize on other value which you're gonna bring with the new product. You just tell to the people, okay, gentlemen, we're gonna bring a very good product with much lower price, much better quality. Then you give the wrong impression to the market. I believe somehow we did it, but there is nothing to do with HTS right now. HTS is not some wrong concept. From my standpoint of view, is other technology, is a different means of the communication. Eventually, for me, my interpretation of the HTS is look like any other market. You have a different brand, different product with a different value. We have, for instance, in airline industry, you have low-cost carriers, they are targeting some particular segment, versus you have older international brand, they are targeting some other segment. Definitely there are some overlap between these two industries at the end of the day, between these two segments, but it doesn't mean, for instance, low-cost carrier can 100% take the market share of all those big international and vice versa. I would say the HTS concept in the long run would be some concept which eventually will address some segments, versus the conventional satellite would be suitable for some other segment. It's not gonna be like, okay, in the long terms we see, okay, HTS will take over everything and the conventional satellite will be just gone. From my standpoint, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen at the end of the day.
Now, going back to the very first question where you talked about the market, consolidation, retraction, what are your plans? Have you got plans to grow bigger? Have you got plans to take over some other enterprises? How are you evolving?
Yeah, we got a couple of different strategy right now. The first one, definitely we want to concentrate on organic growth. This is one of our roadmap and the strategy inside NorthTelecom. The second one, definitely we are going to acquire and merge with some of the firms across the globe, to utilize their expertise, to do more consolidation. And the third one is we are heavily working with a lot of players and other suppliers to see how we can leverage their facility and their infrastructures and their basically systems to bring the value inside NorthTelecom. It's simply is that in the third strategy is about economy of scale and economy of sharing. Other businesses, they are doing that. They did it. They are doing is quite successful, and I'm urging satellite industry players, all my fellow colleagues, to think about collaborations rather than to duplicate and replicate basically the whatever we have. It really doesn't make sense to go for basically duplicate everything. It's cost. It's all about cost. If we are talking about cost, satellite capacity is just one element of the cost. We have a lot of other overhead inside satellite industry. The capacity is shrinking. Okay, it's fine. It's the reality, but other elements of the cost. Do we have any solution for the other element? Yes, there are some solutions. We need to understand how we can work to each others, how we can work in a win-win situation, to utilize our resources and our expertise to have a win-win situation inside the satellite industry.
Marty, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.